The Pokémon franchise is one of the largest and most popular in the world. With the booming success of Palworld, many are making comparisons between the two. Many see Palworld as a blatant ripoff of Pokémon, while others see it as an improvement upon a formula that has long been stale. Now, full disclosure, I have not played Palworld. This footage is courtesy of a friend. Even if I had played Palworld, I don't want to spend this video comparing the two. I want to focus on my own thoughts that I've had even before Palworld released. Many have said that Pokémon has put out the same game for a long time, and that it is time to change. I want to focus on 10 ways that Pokémon can improve upon its formula and make a game that is more engaging, interesting, and fun. Some of these ways are ones that others have talked about, but I have also put in some other interesting takes that you may not have thought of, so make sure to watch to the end. Before I go into the ways that Pokémon can improve, I want to go over my background with the games. When I was a kid, I had a blue Game Boy Advance SP. And the first Pokémon games I got were both Pokémon Gold and Silver. I don't think my parents knew they were pretty much the same games. I've also played Fire Red, Ruby, Diamond, Soul Silver, White, and Sword. Personally, Pokemon Soul Silver and White are my favorite games. White is the only game I have beaten the Elite Four in, and I loved a lot of things about that game. I think a lot of the Pokemon it introduced get a bad rep because there are a lot of great ones in it. Also, the music is fantastic, and the villain is a lot more interesting than the ones in other games. Another improvement that I loved was being able to use TMs more than once. This small feature made me have so much more fun with the game since I could add more diverse movesets to my Pokemon. In the other games, I pretty much never used TMs because in my head they were super rare and I didn't want to waste them. It's the same kind of logic as when you get a really OP potion in the game, but you never use it except for maybe at the end because you only get one of them. Anyways, that is my experience with the series. I love the Pokemon formula and have ever since I was a kid, but I agree with others when I say there are ways that the series can improve. So here are my top 10 ways that the series can be refined in no particular order. Number 1, add more polish. Game Freak should be embarrassed of the state that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet released in, but it sold 10 million copies in 3 days and broke tons of Nintendo's records, so they probably don't care. It was a buggy mess with a boring and stale open world. Graphics aren't everything in a game, and I think style is more important than high quality graphics, but for a company as big as Game Freak and a franchise this big, the graphics are pathetic. I know I said I didn't want to compare it to Palworld, but Palworld looks so much better and is an early access game made by a much smaller team. The cutscenes are also pretty bad. I've been more impressed by the cutscenes in Final Fantasy X, which is a PS2 game, than the ones in the latest Pokemon. In fact, let's compare the opening cutscene of Pokemon Scarlet against two other games that came out almost a decade before it. These two games have some of my favorite intros of all time. The first is from Tales of Exilia, a game that was released for the PS3 in North America on August 6, 2013. Now let's look at the intro to StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm, which was released on March 12, 2013, the same year as the previously shown game.
Armies will be shattered. Worlds will burn. Now at last, on this world, vengeance shall be mine. For I am the Queen of Blades.
Now let's watch the opening to Pokémon Scarlet, which was released on November 18th, 2022, 9 years after the previous two games. When you compare Scarlet to the other two games, it looks so terrible and lame. Tales of Exilia has a great song, exciting animation, and fast-paced visuals that show the protagonists in action. It is also so full of color, expressions, and life. The part where Judas fights Gaius, who has a katana with just his fists, is awesome. The Heart of the Swarm cutscene is incredible. It has such a dreary feel to it. Kerrigan's voice combined with the epic music and visuals sends chills down your spine. The part where the Viking transforms and gets wrecked by a massive Ultralisk is just so cool. Also, the part where the battlecruiser crashes to the planet and causes huge destruction is so impactful. Both of these cutscenes are completely different in almost every way, but they hype you up for the game and get you ready for the journey ahead. In comparison, the intro to Scarlet is so lazy. The music is bad. It sounds like you asked AI to make a Pokemon song. The visuals are bland and the trees look terrible. The camera movements are wonky. Compared to the quick snappy movements in the Tales of Exilia intro, and the difference is night and day. The part where it zooms into the Pokemon's eye looks so low quality and bad. If this hypes you up for the game, you need to play more games, cause this is about as hype as going to the DMV. The intros to Sonic 06 and Balan Wonderland are better, and those aren't games you want to be compared to. Also, a lot of the cutscenes in the game are lazy and overuse fade to black transitions to hide the fact that they didn't want to animate things. The cutscenes need to be improved in the next games. Use more smooth and fun animations and less jarring transitions. Another thing that needs to be fixed, especially from Scarlet and Violet, is how poorly it runs. I don't care much about getting insane frame rates, but getting 5 frames a second at times and having things look like they are in stop motion is unacceptable. Sure, the Switch isn't the most powerful system, but it is possible to work around it, especially when you have the money to do so. As everyone points out, Breath of the Wild was able to do it and look great, so this game can too. All of these issues just make the game seem like it has no soul. The next Pokemon game needs to have more polish. Make the world not feel so bland and dull. Make it feel unique, colorful, and alive. Add exciting locations and NPCs that actually do things. Make the Pokemon inhabiting it feel exciting and alive. Remove all the glitches, bugs, and errors. Don't rush the game just to make a holiday deadline. Take the time to make it better. The fans deserve better. Number 2, voice acting. It's crazy how many Pokemon games we've gotten and there's still no voice acting. Some of these games have long droves of text and voice acting would add a lot more excitement to it. It would make the cutscenes seem a lot less dull. It would make the story and characters much more interesting. If you had voice acting, you could also have the enemies and gym leaders talk smack to the player. Like they could say nice try or pathetic if your Pokemon missed or fainted. You could also have the Pokemon talk like they do in the TV shows and in other games. These things could get annoying, but I think it would make the game feel more alive and like real life. Number 3, make battles more exciting. In the newer Pokemon games, the battle animations seem boring, and attacks don't have as much impact or power as they should. Like a Pokemon will use Bite, and instead of them running up and biting the other Pokemon, they just overlay a graphic of fangs chomping down on the opponent. Also, the camera movements aren't very exciting. This has been explained well in a video titled Fixing Pokemon with Cinematography by Daryl Talks Games. In it, he talks about how adding things like better camera movements, animations, and effects would make the battles more interesting. I won't go much more in depth about this point since that video and others talk about it in great detail. It's a good video. You can check it out after this video if you want more on this point. Number 4, make battles more seamless. Sometimes Pokemon battles can be intense and fun, other times they just slog on and are painfully boring to get through. If you've ever fought a Metapod that just used Harden over and over again, and you had no special attacks, you know what I mean. But that's only part of the problem. There are so many times in battle where text interrupts things, especially when using moves with multiple attacks or status moves. It has to tell you every time someone gets hit by a multi-attack, every time you're confused, every single status that gets changed one by one. You have to skip through so many things just to get back to attacking. I think all these things should be simplified and condensed. Make it so that the player still knows what's going on, but make it quicker so these things don't take forever. It gets so old so fast. Pokemon needs to make battles much more quick and more fun, while not removing anything that's important. Number 5, make it more mature. When I say that the game should be more mature, I don't mean like GTA or Mortal Kombat. I also don't mean making the game more American like Palworld by adding guns to the mix. What I mean is adding some more mature themes, emotions, and events, while still making it kid-friendly. Game Freak also needs to remember that not just kids play these games. Many adults love and enjoy these games as well, so they should make a game that appeals to both kids and adults. One way to make it more mature is to add more interesting conflicts. Have the main characters have struggles they need to overcome, and have them grow throughout the game. It seems like a lot of the personality of the characters in Pokemon games is that they want to be the best and that they're going to be. Please have more variety to characters than this. It's such a basic and tired trope, especially in media aimed towards kids. Also, have some more menacing enemies in Pokemon. You could also add some creepy places like Lavender Town from Blue and Red. Have the main characters not succeed all the time. Show kids that it's okay to fail, and that if you allow it, failure can make you stronger. I think adding more things like this would make the narrative much more interesting and engaging, not only for kids, but for people of all ages. Number 6, better villains. I just have to say this, Team Yell and Sword and Shield is a super lame group. I mean, I didn't get really far into Sword, but what I did play, I was not impressed with them. Also, there's only like one character model for the guys and one for the girls. It's so bizarre. I think N and White was a good villain who had an interesting motive and a really good theme song. Going back to the previous point, I think the villain should be intimidating and complex. When the player faces them, it should be a big deal, and they should have a strong team behind them that can beat the player easily if they're not careful. I think it's important to have a memorable villain inside your video game, someone that sticks into your head long after you play the game. Number 7, increased difficulty. One thing that a lot of people have brought up is that the Pokemon games are too easy, especially the newer entries. One thing that I want to make clear is that making some things easier is a good thing. I think one good change that has been made is that now it is easier to get experience. In the older games, leveling up Pokemon was painful at times. It takes so long to grind if you don't have the ability to fast forward, which you don't, because we are all good, law-abiding citizens here who pay $100 to play our Pokemon games from resellers who bought them for $5 after haggling it down from $10 at a garage sale. While I think grinding is a big part of RPGs, there can't be too much of it. I know about grinding being too much. I've played RuneScape. Leveling up is much better and more balanced now in my opinion, and there are multiple ways to level up the Pokemon you have. I know some don't like it, but I like shared XP. It helps a lot when you have weaker Pokemon you want to level up, and makes it so you don't have to level each one at a time. Now on the other side of things, a lot of opponents are pushovers and use the same pool of Pokemon. A lot of the characters in gyms or gang members have the same few Pokemon. It's not exciting to fight the same ones over and over again. I think opponents should have more diverse Pokemon with diverse movesets. The game shouldn't be Dark Souls level of difficulty, but you shouldn't be able to one-hit KO everything with your starter Pokemon. You also shouldn't just be able to one-shot everything just by using a super effective move. That makes things so easy and predictable. It just turns into bringing out a Pokemon with a super effective move and using it. The game should punish you for not having and using a diverse set of Pokemon and having multiple teams. The catch line is literally gotta catch them all. It should punish you hard if you aren't using a bunch of Pokemon. I think it's much more fun anyways being able to have a bunch of Pokemon to use. I mean, it's one of the most unique parts of Pokemon. The gym leaders should also be more difficult. Each one should feel like an accomplishment when you defeat them, and they shouldn't just use 2 of the same Pokemon and 1 Pokemon that is the same as those 2 but evolved. I also think the levels of Pokemon that gym leaders have should scale to the player, especially if the gyms are able to be played in different orders. I know fans would love a bigger challenge. We have tons of ROM hacks that make the games more difficult. There's also Nuzlocks where the players make up rules to make the game more difficult. I feel like we don't see this as much in other games. Sure, there are mods and ROM hacks of a lot of other games that make them harder, but not on the level of Pokemon. I don't see people playing Cuphead while wearing the reverse bear trap from Saw that goes off if they die too much in the game. It's good to have a bigger challenge. You might say that this game is for kids, but I would counter that point. In my opinion, kids are a lot smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. Making it easier for kids doesn't help them grow or challenge them to become better players. A more balanced difficulty that challenges players while not being too challenging would be better for players of all ages. Number 8, more in the post-game. The post-game is an important part of Pokemon. Usually once you beat the game, you can go to new areas and catch legendary Pokemon. I think there needs to be more than that. It's kind of lame to be able to catch awesome Pokemon and then not really have any use for them. I really like the post-game of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. When you beat the game, you get a whole new region to explore. You can also rematch the gym leaders who now have much tougher Pokemon. Then in Black 2 and White 2, you could battle all the gym leaders from previous previous games. I think all Pokemon games should either have this, or at least let you rematch the gym leaders from the current game. Another fun post-game that players have loved was the Battle Frontier in Emerald. I've heard other games have tried to have something similar to the Battle Frontier, but they weren't as good. Having a tournament area like this is a great activity where you can use the cool legendaries you get in the post-game. They should go all out in the post-game and have many fun things to do, not just one. I also think that it would be fun to have limited time events, which Pokemon has done in the past. It should not be turned into a live service, but having more things added to the game over time would be good. Number 9. Increase focus on competitive play. I know that asking Nintendo to care about competitive play is like asking a crocodile not to eat you. However, there's a lot of people who love to play Pokemon competitively. I know they've been adding more online and multiplayer functionality, but there's still room for improvement. I think having more online tournaments, ranked matches, and events would draw in a lot of players. They don't have to be huge in-person tournaments, they could just be online ones. Having a fun competitive scene would also help feed into my previous point about improving the post-game and give players more variety to gameplay. Number 10. Try new things. I think this might be one of the biggest things that Pokemon can work on. Many have given praise to Pokemon Arceus for changing up the formula and being different. Pokemon should not be afraid to evolve and try something new. I'm not talking about just adding new gimmicks like an accessory that tracks your steps. Speaking of which, it feels like Pokemon is forced to add a new gimmick to each game like Mega Evolutions, Dynamaxing, Triple Battles, Z moves, etc. Probably by the Geneva Convention or something like that. Instead of adding a gimmick, I think they should try to add big changes to gameplay. They could even try changing up the combat completely, like how Final Fantasy VII Remake did compared to the original. Personally, I don't mind turn-based combat, but there are definitely many ways to spice it up and make it more fun and spectacular. The Pokemon games have become very formulaic. You're a kid who lives with their mom, then talks to a professor who has a name based on a tree, then you go get all the badges or do all the challenges. It's okay to have tradition and make things that continue in each game, but you can change up the formula a little bit. Even if you're the most diehard fan, you can admit that Pokemon can be better. The series has been compared to Call of Duty and Madden in terms of releasing a similar game every time. Now, I think Pokemon is a better game than Madden. I mean, kicking rocks around is probably more fun, but the comparison is still valid. I know there are plenty of fans that are happy with the games, and that's okay. I don't think they're horrible games or anything, but I do think the quality and care has dropped. I just want the series to be better, to realize its potential and not be afraid to change things up. Pokemon is the biggest franchise ever. It has tons of money to put into developing something great. Game Freak just needs to take more time and care into the next installments of the franchise, because the fans of the biggest franchise ever deserve that level of respect and dedication. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Let's try to get to 100 subscribers. Also, let me know in the comments your feelings about Pokemon and if you agree or disagree with any of my points. If you have any gaming related topics you would want me to cover, you can leave those in the comments as well. For more content like this, check out my YouTube page. I'm just getting started, but I'm planning on posting at least weekly if I can. Thank you for watching this video and for your support of the channel.